Good morning, sweetie pie. Good morning. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Oh, good morning, East Coast 215. Give Ruby a hug and kiss from Mama, please. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Mornings with Mo, where authenticity lives and thrives to create a space of growth, healing, and joy. I am your host, Andrea Lawful Sanders, and each day we will cover the topics that are informative and engaging while learning from each other. Good morning. I need to let those of you who are on Facebook aware that I don't see your messages. Sometimes I see your messages in real time, but a lot of the times I don't see your messages until after the show. Like right now, I'm looking at it. I know Jana Malice is on because my phone has um, warned me that she is on. But other than that, sometimes I don't see your messages. So if I'm not responding to you, it's because I don't see you, right? Until after the show. I see East Coast 215. Very good. Thank you, my brother. I've been having low volume and I had to change something on my computer. So thank you all for telling me about that too. I see East Coast 215 on Instagram. Until I get to 1,000 likes on my business page, I will not be able to broadcast live from there. So I need you all to go over to my business page, A.Lawful underscore truth on Instagram. Okay. And Joel is awake. So I have Joe. Great. Okay. And so I'm on Instagram on my regular page, which is Island Diva. I'm on YouTube. And so I see you all here. Good morning to each and every one of you. I have a guest at 7 a.m. It is my intention to help us to get to a place where we understand how to build wealth in a time when it almost seems impossible. And it's nice to gripe and complain, but I really do want us to have conversations around solutions. And it's really not about how much money you make. It's really about how you keep the money that you make. What does that look like? And in a time when things are so strident for so many people, and it has not been easy, I have someone that's coming on that will have a conversation about that. Let me look over here in my chat and see who is here because I see people talking. Good morning, Laura. Laura, I'm getting my ticket to the Carpathia Ball today. I was having a conversation with my husband. And good morning, Shamika. Welcome back to school. Happy school. I know it's the second day of all the no, I don't know if the suburban districts are back yet. So let me not say anything. But I know you've been back, getting your spaces ready, etc. Good morning, Beatrice. Good morning, Laura. Good morning to all of you. Marguerite. Good morning, my darling. Grand Rising, Viola. Uh, Nadine, I see that you are on Facebook. I can see it showing up on my computer that you're there, but I can't see anything there. Good morning, Monica. Hi, my darling. Hello. Man, I was hanging out with the grandchildren last week, touching everything, and Lord Jesus. I've been sneezing ever since. Good morning, Bobby. Good morning. So I see all of you here. I am starting the show by talking about something serious to all of us. And because I've been off the grid, when I go off the grid, I go off. I don't pay any attention to the news. I don't do any of those things, right? And so let me have a conversation with you now this morning about something that is incredibly serious. Yesterday, I spent some time having dialogue with a few folks. I reached out to a few more this morning because I want to address it here on my show in a serious way. All right, so let's go. The husband, uh, let me see. This was written by Sherry Stone, Tribune Star writer, August 20th, 2025. The husband of slain business owner of Mr. Relaxation Men's Spa and Lounge at 6325 Germantown Avenue turned himself in to police on Tuesday evening, Philadelphia police confirmed. Rashida Irvin, 48, was found inside a bathroom of the popular establishment with multiple gunshot wounds to the torso, according to police. An arrest warrant was issued for Kyle Irvin, 55, who police said surrendered to officers in the 14th district. A caller reported hearing sounds of gunshots coming from inside the spa a week ago on August 11th, so it's been about 2 weeks now, when Rashida Irvin was pronounced dead on the scene, and police said police spokeswoman Miguel Torres. Business owners and neighbors in the East Germantown area mourned her loss after learning about what happened. Brandon Abney of Germantown said he was concerned for the couple's daughter. She can't be more than 14 or 15, he said. I can't imagine what it's like to have your dad shoot your mother. During an interview on Canvas Rebel magazine, Rashida Irvin said she started the business because for customers like her husband, a barber for over 30 years who would stand on his feet all day. She said her husband had refused to go to a women's spa and tried to give himself home pedicures. The idea of a men's spa and lounge was born when her husband said he would go to a similar shop just for men. The shooting was at least the second domestic violence related incident resulting in homicide in Philadelphia in a week. In an unrelated incident on Sunday around 9:30 p.m., Philadelphia police responded to a shooting on the 1500 block of North Grass Street. During that incident, Darrell Skipworth, 42, was shot in his chest, back, and leg during an ongoing dispute with his girlfriend. During a verbal argument between the couple, the woman's 23-year-old son became involved and began physically fighting with Skipworth before shooting him, said police spokeswoman Tanya Little. The suspect fled the scene before police arrived, and the motive is believed to be domestic. Now, let's talk. And I'm always transparent with all of you. So let's have a discussion about what feels normal and what isn't normal in a relationship, and why we often, men or women, because men are abused are in domestic violence situations too. What makes us stay? What are the warning signs when you first begin a relationship that tells you that something is off? And start telling them to me. Is it the way they treat their mother? Is it the way they treat people around them as you're making googly eyes at each other? Is it a kind of look that you get that shivers run down your spine? Is it that person grabbing you by your arm and threatening you quietly? Is it, talk to me, because I think more people go through domestic violence situations than a little bit. What is it that makes you, what are the signs? What are the warning signs that you see? Because this woman started, I'm talking about Rashida now, and I saw people talking about her, but I didn't know what happened some weeks ago. And I couldn't figure out what was going on there. So talk to me now about what does a domestic violence situation look like? And when you're in an incident where someone is screaming in your face, grabbing you, beating the daylights out of you, where is it that we don't feel safe enough to walk away, or that there aren't enough supports in our communities, or are we afraid to tell our families that these things are happening to us and so we don't do anything? Or East Coast 215 says normal isn't always healthy. Some people grow up in abusing environments that don't realize it's not healthy. So Where does that start? Do we have the conversations with our children when they're yet little about hitting people, about screaming at people? Do we teach our children what's the healthier way to have that conversation? What does that look like? No, seriously, I literally want you all to talk to me. I can't see you on Facebook. So I'm going to go into, and you can call 215-400-0146. 215-400-0146. Let me put it in here so that you guys can call me. 215-400-0146. And if you have been in a domestic violence situation, because so many people have, present company included, how do you navigate and and extricate yourself from it? What does that look like for you? Right? And please feel free to call me 215-400-00. I'm sorry, 400-0146. 215-400-0146. I remember in my particular situation calling my father and crying like, I'm in this really bad scenario. Can you please help me? I need some help. And he got on a plane. My daddy got on a plane. My mother said it was the first and only time she had ever seen him cry. After I got off the phone with him, because he was stoic, he said, all right, let me talk to your mother. We'll kind of figure out what we can do to help you. And my mother said he got off the phone, went out on the porch, and just cried. She had never seen him cry before. She hadn't seen him cry since. And I don't know what it was that was in my voice that made him say, okay. My father got on a plane, came here, called the offender's work, and said, let me tell you something. This is what's going on in his house. Like, my father did everything. Took my oldest son. I was sick as a dog because I was under so much stress. I had Graves' disease. Went into congestive heart failure. One day, actually drove myself to the hospital. So I tell you, when you see people sitting in front of you and they're having this conversation about how life is just so wonderful, I need us to be transparent enough about the things that have taken place. We don't get to where we are in the present without some hard knocks in the past, right? And so I need you all to figure out. And so as a direct result, my father stopped all of that. But not everybody has a father that will jump in, or a cousin or an uncle or whatever that is. And I'm leaving out some of the details because, you may know who I'm talking about. Because in these inner worlds, lots of stuff. But I didn't think I was pretty until I was about 42. 42, because this person kept saying to me, you think you're all that. And I mean, I was quiet and mousy. Yes, if you can believe it, because I was quiet and mousy, not to draw the ire of this person who was just, the slightest thing would set them off. Right. One day I was in Center City with that person, and I would walk with my head held, my head down to the ground. And the person said to me, we were walking, and some random man walked up and said, oh my God, you're so beautiful, blah, 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 blah. And the person I was with thought I was drawing the attention to myself. Head down now, wasn't trying to talk to anybody. And baby, I can't tell you the world of hurt. And I fought back. Let me just tell you. And I got to the point where I said, I cannot do this anymore. And they were a little afraid of me, because when I fought back, as you can see from the lifting of the weights in the gym, I'm strong as hell. But it was so devastating to my body. My neck got black from my blood pressure going up so high. I didn't realize it. My skin started to just like black, right? My skin started to shift and change. It was just a whole lot going on in that moment. And I said to myself, I would rather, good morning, Kim Cat and Debbie Womack. I can see you. I can see your words. I said, I would prefer to live under a bridge with rats than to sit through this. And I got up and I left. And it took me, hear me, it took me almost a decade to find my voice. This stuff has long-lasting consequences. when you find yourself in it. And there's so many people in it that will never talk about this. But I grew up in a house where I wasn't watching my father beat my mother up and down the hill and carrying on. We didn't see that. But I did see it growing up. And my next door neighbor would abuse his wife. And but if she got home late and his dinner wasn't ready, and I would say to my father, "What the hell? What is this?" And he would say, "Don't marry anybody. Don't get in a relationship with anybody that will do this to you." You know, and so it's become the norm in so many ways. And the thing is, I really want to give you all permission to speak up and out. And for those of you who are not in a domestic violence situation, please understand, if someone comes to you and says, "I am in a bad scenario," I truly, truly need you all to hold their confidence. Help them to get to a safe space. Please, 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 please. I come from a Don Dada family who was not, they were not playing those games. And I have to tell you, my father watched me since that incident happened years ago. And he was so grateful. I remember him sitting me down when he met Mr. and said, "I am so grateful you have an amazing husband." He said, "I watch him. He makes sure you have the better car. He makes sure he takes care of you. He makes sure I watch him. Fathers, parents watch." He said, he makes sure you are okay at all times. I see him putting himself in front of danger so that you are okay. But it took my getting to a place of understanding what a healthy, and I saw a healthy relationship. And my parents were together for almost 60 years before my mother took her last breath. We lived in a home where we had a nanny, because everybody think you come from Jamaica, you know all these things. Like we had all of these things, and yet I found myself, because you know what? Let me tell you how I found myself there. I ignored my gut instinct. I did. I remember saying to this person, "I really don't think we should be together." And they were like, "Oh, no, 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 no. Everybody leaves me. My mother leaves me. This one leaves me. That one leaves me. I don't want you to be." And because I was young and thought, okay, we're going to figure this out. Today, we are great friends. That's the other thing. We are, you can't hold the unforgiveness for all those years. Today, we are great friends. And I understand what was going on in the moment, but I was not the one to live in that drama and that trauma. And so I had to find myself, and finding myself meant if I ran into something else that didn't feel right, I would say no thank you and would rock the hell on, right? Until I found the man of my dreams, who really I wasn't looking for him, he found me. So I'm saying to you, what is it? What can we do so that more people aren't dying? I spoke to a sister yesterday who said there was one, maybe two safe houses in the entire city of Philadelphia. I'm getting ready to interview folks about this, but I threw myself on the stake for all of you. So when you see me walking with my head held high and, my posture right and all the things that I was born and raised with, after coming through that trauma, I need you all to realize that this can be different. It can shift and change. So if you are in a relationship with a man or a woman and you feel that they're being abusive towards you, what are the steps that you take to get yourselves extricated from that? What? And I know I'm spending a lot of time on it, but there's 2 domestic violence incidents in less than a week. And from what I've come to understand, it's happening more and more, particularly since COVID, and no one's really discussing it. I'm not, my husband calls me a dog and tells me all these other things. I'm in air marks now. And my husband calls me this and tells me that, but he makes X amount of money. And I want to continue to live in the lifestyle that I'm living. I've heard that conversation. Right? I've heard all kinds of things from people. And what I've said to them is, when you are ready, I can't tell you what to do, but when you are ready, let's have the dialogue around what does this look like. So, East Coast 215 says the verbal and emotional abuse was my story. Yeah, I've heard it. Thank you for sharing that, East Coast 215. Yeah, I listen. Let me see. Monica says, Laura says, many people have seen this as they grew up. It's regular to them, so they tolerate it. It can't, Laura, it can't be. It can be. It can't. When I say it can't be, it is happening. But do you know what being emotionally and physically abused feels like over and over again? Right? And people who are emotionally and physically abused often show up as abusers themselves in the workplace. They don't treat the people that are underneath them properly. All sorts of things are happening, right? We've got to work through these things. Monica says, domestic violence is something that strikes me hard. As I was in that relationship many, many years ago, it did not start that way. It was slight little things escalated to alienation. Yes, Monica. Yes. That was the other thing. I was alienated from my family. You know, why are you calling them? I don't want them at our house. Blah, 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 blah. Craziness. Just a lot. She says, I lost myself and was brainwashed. I finally got out by one phone call to my mommy. I was so embarrassed. Yeah, the same thing. It was my father that I called, but I tell you what, my father jumped in, was like, yeah, we're not doing that. Alexandra says, Monica Adams, that's what they hope for, that you're too embarrassed. My grandmother noticed changes in me. I saw my eyes in the picture and realized I had to go. I made the decision to go. Marguerite says, getting to know who you are makes a difference when it comes to the abuse. So it is. It's very difficult. So I'm going to have a domestic violence survivor on, and then I'm going to have folks on that will talk to us about, what do we do? Where do we go? Living in Montgomery County, they had safe houses. I knew where a couple of them were because my organization, the Com Society, we donated things with, actually didn't know where they were, where the safe houses were. We knew where the organization that worked with the safe houses were. And we would go and drop off things for the women and the children so that they would be okay. It was just something near and dear to my heart. So when you see, I just said that, Marguerite. She said, and don't forget, it's not just men abusing women. Women can be abusers also. Absolutely. It's a terrible scenario to be in, right? And it's even harder when women are abusers, because they'll say things like, who's going to believe that I'm the one that's doing that to you? Call the cops. I'm going to tell them you did it to me. So I need us as providers, protectors, to hear both sides of the story and really pay attention, because there's quite a few men who are being abused too. In fact, there was one brother, oh God, when I was on the radio, I went to a live broadcast event and he walked over and the tears just started flowing out of his face. And he says, I want you to know you saved my life. Every day I turn on the radio and I was listening to you because you were talking about this, and so much more. His wife was so abusive to him. She gouged out one of his eyes, actually made him blind. And she just kept being abusive, and the court would just always listen, and he took away his daughter, and it was just crazy, just the craziest stuff. And I kept encouraging him, and he said, and then he finally came on the air and talked about it openly with me. And he said, it took me this long because everybody believes that men can't be abused. Men can be abused and are abused every single day. And she got away with it. She got away with it. So you remember him, Laverne? Yes, 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 yes. And so we have to have empathy and to listen to both sides. And sometimes men are so abused, they just stay really quiet and they don't say anything. It's a lot happening out here. It is, oh yes, Monica. Yes, yes, yes. It was crazy. And sometimes he finds me here. But he said he had to be, after he spoke about it, people started, I can't believe you said all of that. Mary Alyssa May said, this butterfly, she said, many times we fall into the grooming behavior that is overlooked, but experienced almost daily, that comes to gradual and leads to the aggression and physical conflict with harm. Yes, agreed. Absolutely agreed. And Viola says, I saw some of that with others and with my mother. Joel, I see. I'm going to take you in a minute. I would leave and go to my nana. And it also impacts the children. So let's be clear, right? This is not just me sitting here having a dialogue with you. And I was incredibly vulnerable and transparent with all of you this morning because I want you to know This is the face of domestic violence. This is my husband would rather cut all his toes off before he would put his hands on me. He doesn't even raise his voice at me. I'm so grateful for him. But I had to go through something to get to this side, to value myself enough. And it took a decade, y'all. So the longer you sit into these relationships, the harder it is to come out of it. I thought I was the ugliest thing. I did. I did. Laverne says, I watched my mother be abused by her husband and boyfriend. One resulted in being murdered by police after shooting in our house. As a result, I became Miss Sophia with my son's father. You told Harpo to beat me all my life. I've been, yeah, well. Kim Cat says, sometimes their truth isn't revealed until after you have fallen for them, heart and soul. That which was sweet sounded after it was secured, soured after it was secured. But I tell you, the truth is, when I went back and looked, I saw signs, but it wasn't happening to me. So I was like, well, maybe they got on his nerves. Maybe he did that, blah, 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 blah. The signs are there. If they don't speak to the wait staff in the restaurant well and they're barking at people, that's a sign. If they don't like their mother and they don't treat their mother well, that's a sign. If the people around them are saying, boy, I'm so glad you got him because it was so hard to work, that's a sign. It's all a sign, him or her. Because to the point that we just made, whole man, I mean, that man laid in my arms and sobbed. I tell you, being on the air, if you're empathetic and treating people well, the stories you hear will break your ever-loving heart. Right? The other thing that I'm going to be talking to all of you about in upcoming weeks is the amount of men and women that are dropping suddenly from heart attacks. All right, so we're going to discuss that, and then this is a Child Abuse Awareness Month. We're wrapping this month up, but that is, I'm getting ready to have a whole conversation about that too. So I need you all to gird up your loins and be ready, because mother, the country's doing what the country's doing, and I will discuss that. But I also have to talk about the things that matter to you as we are going through this life that we're in. Kim Cat says, that was me with a military man. We got engaged. One day he revealed himself with drugs, alcohol, and physical in a matter of days. Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy. And that folks who are married right now who are just like, yeah, I don't know who this person is that I got married to, but I don't want any more parts of it. So that's where we are. Let me let Joel in. And tomorrow we'll have a little bit more discussion around some of these things. Joel! Good morning, sir. I can't see. Hey!
Good morning. Good morning.
Ooh, somebody is awake. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Great to be here. Super congratulations to your show.
Thank you. Thank you, my
Well, it's more
brother.
than to show your empire. You're at the booming stages of the empire.
Yes. It took a lot of thought and movement, because people said to me a year later, we couldn't believe, we thought you were playing when you said you were going to start your own thing. I was like, what, playing? And I just went on and did what I had to do. A lot of work, a ton of time, a lot of money, a lot of energy, but here I am. Nobody tells me what to say and do. I'm not policed in any way, and I get to cover the topics that matter the most to the people that I'm serving. So it's important. You and I need to get into this conversation, because I want you all to hear. If you have never seen Joel Wilson, I used to have him on every month. So we're going back to that so we can have the conversation. He is the founding member and president of IBB Investment Group LLC, a diverse group of progressive and business-minded African Americans who work together on various investment strategies to ultimately pour wealth into the Black community in Philadelphia. Today, we're going to talk about investing. In fact, Joel and I, we talk so much. Some of you are now, good morning, Lisa Marie. Some of you are now part of IB Big. Yes, honey, you joined us. I see you all when I show up in the meetings, because I am a member, and I joined, and people would say, there is no way for Black people to grow wealth in this city. It's just impossible. And folks would call the radio and complain about how poor we are. And Joel came on and said, well, tell them about IB Big, Joel.
Yes, absolutely. So IB IB Big, that's our abbreviation, IBB Investment Group LLC. We are a Philly launched, black owned and managed true investment club here in the city of Philadelphia. We launched in 2019 with 5 members, myself, plus my beautiful wife. She was my girlfriend at the time.
Yeah.
We each put up $200. So that's $1,000. We filed
All
all the
right.
necessary.
So Joel said the people can't hear you on IG and on Facebook. So here's what we're going to do, Lisa. Come on over to YouTube because he's a little low. Come on over to YouTube. He's not speaking loudly. Turn up your sound, your volume for me, please, Joel. Come on over to YouTube. It's A. Lawful Truth Enterprises 312. A. Lawful Truth Enterprises 312. Talk to me again now, Joel. Let me see.
Okay, mic check 1 2. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
that's a little bit better. A little bit better.
Okay.
But Chloe, you know to come on over to YouTube if you can't hear him. The ultimate goal is for everybody to be on YouTube so I can get off Facebook and Instagram. So I just keep it open so you can come on over. A. Lawful Truth Enterprises 312. You'll see me in a purple and orange dress. Come on over here and we'll have the conversation. Okay, go ahead.
All right. So come on over to YouTube, folks. So we launched IBB Investment Group LLC, which is a black owned and managed, and I want to keep stressing that, owned and managed investment club. We are a true investment club. We are not an investment firm. Okay, we are not an investment firm, and that's an important and distinction. And a
Mhm,
lot of folks in our community don't realize that. If you go to an investment firm, you just turn your money over and they do all the thinking for
mhm,
you. They do
mhm,
the investing for you. In an investment club, by law, you should be participating in the voting of how your money is used.
Yes. Mhm,
And so that's an extremely important distinction. In an investment firm, the folks who manage your money must have different financial certifications to
yes.
manage your money. In an investment club, it is not required that you have various certifications, but you need to have a system, a democratic system, so that the
Mhm,
folks who are partners have input with how
mhm,
the money is being used. So
mhm.
we started back in 2019. It was just 5 members, $200 each, $1,000 total. That was our initial investment. And we look forward to now, 6 years later, 2025, we have roughly 50 members. We got 2 or 3 on deck coming in.
Come
Uh,
on.
I do
Yes.
want to thank you for one of the superstars you sent us, Regina. She's now our assistant treasurer, so she's in the thick of it. She's in the thick of it.
Yes.
But we've crossed $385,000.
Did you hear what he said? We crossed $385,000. 50 people.
Yeah,
50 people. Tell them how much they have to invest in monthly in order for them to, to be a member. What is
sure,
it required to be a member?
sure. So, great question. So the first thing that is required is you need to be a conscious black person. So I'll
What does
repeat that.
that mean, Joel?
Yes, a conscious black person. So you either need to you need to be willing to read Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. That is our foundational text so that we can have an understanding of the psychological trauma that all descendants of chattel slavery in this country are dealing with, so that we can have a greater level of empathy for each other, understanding. We go into this knowing that the number one thing racism has impacted us with is that we don't trust each other financially. We do not trust. We are unwilling to put money together. We'll party together. We'll fly out together. We'll do all kinds of stuff. But soon you talk about putting money together, you got 1,001 questions. Who's going to hold it? Do you know what
Mhm,
this person? And there's reasons for that. So again, that conscious blackness. You have to understand that there's there's a reason Ujamaa is there in Kwanzaa, cooperative economics.
Yes.
And if you fight against that principle, then you're not a good fit for the investment club.
Absolutely.
We have 3 levels of membership. First level is just general adult. You are between 26 and 64. Joining fee is $300. That's a one-time joining fee, 300, and then your monthly contribution, minimum $50 a month, maximum $200 a month. That's regular adult.
Did you
If
hear
you are
that? So, but let me just repeat that. He says $300 to join. Then you can put in minimum $50 a month or maximum $200 a month. So they're not telling you have to put in $1,500 a month or $3,000. That's not what that is. We're literally putting ourselves together as a group, and we're collectively, whatever it is that you can put in, minimum 50, maximum 200. Also, when we pull our monies together and there is an opportunity to invest or to buy stocks or EFTs, because we have our money pooled together, collectively we have more power to do what we need to do with that money. Does that make sense? So we're growing wealth in a collective way. Did I say that properly, Joel?
Yes, you did. You
All
said
right.
it right and exact. So that's what we do. We Another level of membership is we call it our young professional membership.
Mm-hmm.
Young professional is you are between the ages of 18 and 25. 18 and 25. So with the young professional, you can join. Your joining fee is just $150.
Mm-hmm.
Your monthly contribution minimum is $25 a month, and you can also max up to $200 a month. Now, we designed the young professionals strategically, really for college students, because a college student could actually get a summer internship, and I know because I employ them, and I know what I pay them. They can make enough money in the summer to comfortably set that aside because it's $300, and that would pay their whole year of monthly contributions. And now they're building wealth from the college. And
Yeah.
for family members who have minors, if you have a minor who's actually can birth through 17, they can also fall under the young professional membership category, but the parent or guardian will just have to be the guardian on the account for
Mm-hmm.
them until they reach the age of maturity, 18, and then the account is turned over to the individual. But I just want to speak one moment about that youth, what you can do with your kid. One of the things, one of the forward thinking things we have designed in is that for families, get your kid into an investment club, a good one, a quality one, because if you put that money in, let's just say, kindergarten through 12th grade,
Yeah.
your child is going to have anywhere from 7 to 10 grand
Mm-hmm.
in their account. And if they decide, hey, mom, dad, I want to go into business. Well, now
Mm-hmm.
they have seed money. But not
Right.
only do they have seed money in our investment club, they would have borrowing capacity.
Yes.
The average 18-year-old youth, black youth in this country, they have zero borrowing capacity,
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of them going to college.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So this helps to address one of the crisis we have in finance and lending.
Mm-hmm.
Built.
Whoop, Joel, we just lost you. Okay, go ahead.
Whoa! I guess what I'm saying is so powerful. It took my it took my screen out.
But people need to hear this. David says, "What is the average rate of return over the year? Is there an investment term period?" You're thinking so. So let me answer part of that. The investment. You can come in and leave whenever you feel like it, right? We have
That's
enough
correct.
money now in there that if someone invests a certain amount of money and let's say life is hard and things are happening and they want to sell their portion of it and get their monies back, we don't stop people from getting their money back. What happens is the rest of us jump on it like leeches and go, I'll buy part of their portfolio. I'll buy part of their portfolio. So that's what we do. So that because Joel, and I thought this was brilliant, because we understand, particularly in our communities, that people are not trusting of black folks and money. sometimes, investors decide that they want to pull out. We have enough money in there to give them. We have a fund set aside. I love this. Set aside so that when people are ready, if they decided they want to leave, up to the highest person that's put in the most amount of money, that they
Correct.
can get their monies and go on. And let me tell you, we
Correct.
don't skip a beat, because some of us joined. I joined, when did I join? 2 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago now.
Yeah, something like that. Yes,
Right.
I think three
And so
years
every
ago.
time somebody's selling their stuff, and I know about it, I was like, I'll take X amount. I'll take X amount. He's asking if there's a capped portfolio, Joel.
It is it a what portfolio?
It's not an investment firm, David. It's an investment club. So it's
Right.
like a great way to save money and build wealth. Does that make
So
sense?
I did see one question about what is the rate of return, and that's a typically a standard question when someone's used to going to a bank, or if they're investing into maybe an ETF or something, and they
Mhm,
provide a prospectus. So
mhm,
again, we are an investment club. So we have a historical return, and I would say on average is 20%. However, we've had at least 2 years in which we hit 50% or better. Last year was one of them. And even this year, right now we're up about 30% for the year. But I would say it's roughly 20%. But I'll also caution people that that's not a guarantee.
right,
And in any investment, there's only very few investments that just have a straight guarantee of what your
right.
return is. A bank account, but it's so low, and that's
Mhm.
why, because you have very little risk. With little risk, you get little
Little bit of
reward.
money. Hmm.
But for a standard, like if you went and just bought stock in Microsoft is not going to sit here and say we guarantee that this is going to appreciate. But
Hmm.
if you, as you learn about investing, you learn that you can do research on Microsoft. You can see what they've done over the
Hmm.
last 20, 30 years, and it's been a phenomenal investment. And things like if you put $2,000 in Microsoft in 1992, it's worth over $400,000 now.
Today,
So
right,
so it's a different way that we communicate how your investment, what historically it has done, and then what is the potential for the future. But we're not going to sit here and guarantee you it's going to do this percentage. And I'll also caution you, anyone out there on the internet that's telling you this is guaranteed by a certain percentage, you need to be doing so much due diligence to
right,
verify that this is a legitimate investment.
right. Which is why I think Laverne was saying, she said, I've lost so much money between investment groups and the flower during COVID. It took a
Mhm.
minute. Now she's a part of the IBB now. IB Big now.
Okay, who was
She's
that?
the part. She Laverne Cheeseburger.
Okay, okay,
So she's a part of us now. But you have to choose. You have to be careful.
right.
Uh, So David says, so one owns X% of the club's value. So the current evaluation is $280,000 with 50 people. Right. So what is happening,
Right.
David? The average person, remember us saying that the average person doesn't even have $500 in their bank account if they have an emergency. We're giving people another way to save money. Right. It may not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but when you, as if you, let's say, I think after the first year, I was like, wait, I had that much money. I'd only put in $1,200, but we kept having opportunities to grow, right, as we were moving along. You have to listen to them. And here's the other thing: they invest in nothing without us, the people that are in the owners of this investment club giving the yes. We vote on everything. So it's not just three people at the top going, well, we decided to invest in EFTs over here, or we decided to invest in that over there. And the folks who are the owners that have their money in it don't have a say. We have a say in every striking thing that happens. So if we don't vote for something, we can vote it down or vote it up. And we ask a ton of questions. We ask a ton of questions, right? Um, right, David, right. So we ask a ton of questions, and then there's the people who would dissent and say no, no, no. But then when we look through it and we decide that this is what we want to do, and we also have what you would call classes on how to invest, so that people know that their monies are not just sitting going into different things. We have different. What's his name? I'm looking at his face.
Jimmy, thinking of Jimmy
Jimmy.
Williams,
Oh my God, Jimmy is
Vincent
amazing.
Better,
Y-
Sharice Stewart. Sharice Stewart is
Yes.
actually our education chair.
Yes. Marguerite says, "Do you still need letters of recommendation?" Yes, ma'am. Do you
Yes.
still need letters of recommendation? Joe will call me and say, "Do you know such and such? They used your name." I say, "Yep," or "I don't know. They might be someone I just know on the radio." But I give letters of recommendation. Angela says, "Can you go over the membership again? Tell them about the membership again, the
Yeah.
process."
And there's three levels of membership, and I failed to mention the last. The last is for our seniors, our senior citizens.
The
So
senior
I'll start
citizens,
there.
yes.
Senior citizens joining fee is $200, and then a monthly contribution is a minimum of $25 up through 200. And in the
Mhm.
regular membership, which is 26 through 64, $300 joining fee. The joining fee is broken down to $150 as operational expense.
Mhm.
$50 you'll get a physical magazine, Better Investing magazine, and it's both physical and they have it online. And then that last $100 are your first units of ownership in the club. So
Mhm.
if you're in the young group, it's $200. So you're paying for the 150
Mhm.
operational expense
Mhm.
and
$50 is your
and that's it
initial.
actually because the
Yes.
joining fee is just 150. So when you
Mhm.
join as a young person, if all you pay is 150, when
Mhm.
you first come in, you won't have any units. But it's a
Mhm.
low threshold way to get in. And then
Get in
next
the
month,
club.
you could start
Yeah.
putting in your $25.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're a senior, it's $200, so 150 for your operations, and then $50 for that magazine. Because
Mhm.
one thing about seniors, and here I'm thinking about my mother, my
Mhm.
mother loves to read. And so the seniors will get the magazine and they'll
Mhm.
read it cover to cover. And then when you go visit them, they'll ask you about what's on page 6.
Mhm.
So it's a good mix. But again, we have three levels of membership. And here's another great thing: you can
Hold
join
on one
as.
second, Joel. Hold on,
Go
hold
ahead.
on. So, because I want to Laura says, to be honest, the investment is so low that it can't hurt to be a part. I'm interested because I work in this space and I'm very careful about the stock market. David said, this is what I love. This is why I love David. David said, so one should look at this as a safe option for saving money on the side with the upswing of making money through investment. We do investments through in the club with the
Correct.
ownership, but you're absolutely right. So that works. And then Angela says, is the initial fee one time or annually? One
One
time.
time. One
One
time.
time, Angela. You don't do it annually. It's one time. Yes. Yeah.
Another nice part of our membership is you can join as an individual, so a person. You can join as a business.
Mhm.
You can join as a nonprofit. So one of the key nonprofits here in the city of Philadelphia, black led
Mhm.
nonprofits. I'm not going to say the name, but key nonprofit.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
have close to $20,000 in the investment fund.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've found in a lot of our nonprofits, they have no type of foundation or no investment,
Mhm.
and they are scraping year after year to
Mhm.
make it. And if you develop a strategy, let's say, and this is for a nonprofit, small business, creatives out there. Let's say you throw a conference every year, and your conference is $20,000, right? If you build up a fund of 100 grand, you will then generate the revenue to finance your own conference perpetually.
Yeah, perpetually. Yeah. Well, listen to this. David says, I think this is a great gift to give students. Parents should buy their children an account for the lifetime of their education. And it's such an easy way to save the money. Because as you were talking to me, I was thinking about my grandchildren who are 9, 3, and 1. The
Mhm.
1-year-old just did the alphabet in Spanish. I need to put something together. I need to do something. Yes, Cat Law, you can join as a family.
Yeah,
Uh,
yes, you can.
yes. And then David says, can a person purchase a lifetime account, one payment forever? I don't know
No,
if we ever thought about that.
no, you can't do that. No, there's rules and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, we're not a fiduciary, meaning you can't give us, like, if you gave us 50 grand up front, then we would have a responsibility because then all that money would not be able to go into the investments in that first month. So then we would be legally responsible for this large sum of money over a period. And we're not a fiduciary. We're not a
Right.
bank. We don't
Right.
want that responsibility. So no.
Yes.
So our money has to come in monthly.
Yes. Yes. Um. Wait. David says, does the club report to credit? This could fix people's credit. No, you don't report to credit bureau, do you?
No.
No. No. It's a savings club. Um.
Well, let me say this because this is
uh,
something that recently happened, and this is a benefit to the members in the club. So one of our partners, and he's actually our vice president, he recently bought property, and he used his investment club statement in the acquisition of that property. So he was
mm,
able to show his part of one of his assets that he currently owns.
mhm. That's awesome. Tracy says, what I love about IB Big is that every member, no matter what your investment knowledge, feels included, and you grow stronger over time in your knowledge. And we are all black. Imagine that. Go ahead, Tracy. That is so true. It is so true. And if I don't understand something, I say, "Excuse me, can you talk like the Bitcoin?" Yo, every time I hear about the Bitcoin, I go, "Say that again." So there's no real money, there's no tangible, it's EFTs. And so we're learning. We're actually learning as we go along. Lisa says, I agree, Tracy. It doesn't matter how knowledgeable you are in investment, everybody feels equally included. It's so true. It is so true. So we're actually teaching and learning. There's some folks in the club that understands a little bit more, and we are part of IBB, which then is a larger national
Better investing. We're part of
Better,
Better
better investor.
Investing.
You're right. We're part of Better Investing, which is a larger national organization. So
Right.
we can learn all the things that are going on within the investment world. So
Correct.
we learn and grow and move. It's amazing. It really is. Which
Better.
reminds me, Lisa, I know you're on here. I need to figure out what my valuation is. And they also tell you what your valuation is. So you can join 2 weeks ago when your valuation will be $50 or $100. But someone like me who has been in it for years, I need to figure out what my value. I don't know what it is, and I gotta leave it to somebody. Should I croak and leave this earth before? But it was such a great way. And I wanted to be an example. I actually joined IB Big because I wanted to be an example for all the people who said it can't be done. It cannot be. You cannot put $50 a month into something. And what they didn't realize is that you're a part of something larger. And wait, weren't we $200,000 maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago?
Yes, 2 years ago we were 2 years ago in December we were 200,000. So we went from 200,000 to 300,000 in a year,
Hmm.
and that's where we had that 50% rise. And then
Yes,
from that 300,000, we were at 300,000 at the end of 2024, and now we hit three like 82, something like that.
382. That
Yeah,
bless you, Lisa. Bless you. Lisa said, I'll mail it to you, Andre. Thank you. David said, and if the club has stable assets that as a member is a part of, they can leverage it. So a student who is saving, hold on. So a student who has a savings in the club of $1,000, the evaluation is based on the entire club.
correct,
That's a brilliant, yes, David. Yes.
correct.
Yes. As you see, so she showed that the club is growing.
And
Um,
let me also um, inform you of a phenomenal aspect. So we have our own microloan fund for partners in the
yes.
club. And this microloan fund, you're able to borrow up to 50% of your value in the club, no
Yes.
credit score. Um, and if you think about it and how it has worked, it's actually, you can use it as a partner, like a credit line that is not in your name, it's in the club's name. And you have access to those funds. You pay the money back, you can use it again.
Yep. So, in other words, for those people who have never been able to go to a bank, and oftentimes, even when you have the best credit and you can show them all your tax returns and all of that stuff, the bank will more than likely not give us or give us at a higher interest rate. We have enough valuation in the club now that we can give microloans to club members.
Right.
Um,
And Andrea, let me tell your audience a uncomfortable truth. So a lot of our great business owners, black business owners in the city of Philadelphia, they don't have good credit. And a major reason is because they carry so much debt to run the business, and it is challenging. So this is one way to give you that liquidity of cash that the system gives you 1,000 reasons why they
They
can't give you
can't give it to
liquidity,
you. Yeah.
but we've created a way to give you liquidity.
Yeah. Yep. Kim says, "Do you?" Yes, I'm gonna say yes for him. She says, "Do you? Would you be willing to speak at a high school?" Yes.
Absolutely. When and where? Give me the time, date, and place.
Yep.
I bring
Yeah, I would.
bars.
Yes, yes. Angela says, "Will there be an informational meeting?" So, Angela, what you do is you would tell them how to email you. Um, there you
you can
go.
you can send send your emails to membership at ibbig.net. Membership at
Lisa, type
ibbig.net.
that in for me, please, darling. Membership at ibbig.net. And then
Correct.
they'll invite you to
An event.
yes, one event so you can hear us, and it's via Zoom. We meet in person several times a year. Look at me, I've
Yeah.
been so long, being part of the club for so long now. I'm telling all the things.
Go
and
ahead,
then
tell the story. And
and
we have an
then when
event. We do have an event that's coming up. It's in the still the planning stages, but I'm gonna pull a moment out of going to church. So I finished reading um, MLK's last book, Where Do We Go From Here? Chaos or Community? And this book has so touched my soul. My wife will tell you I can't stop talking about it. So it's one chapter in particular we're going to do a whole event about. And he wrote a chapter to the Black community. It is addressed to the fraternities and sororities, the Black professional organizations, the union leaders, the educators, the middle class. He wrote to us. And from my 56 years on this earth, almost no one has read his book. So we're going to help correct that here in the city of Philadelphia. So we have a
what's the
whole
name of the
program
book,
coming up.
Joel?
It's called Where Do We Go From Here?
Where do we go
Community
from
or
here?
Chaos? They even have it on Audible. Phenomenal,
Yeah, that's
phenomenal,
okay.
phenomenal book.
And I
So
would love to
we're gonna do a
hear what
program
he
on
says to the middle class, because I think that's a huge
and the
part of
black
what's
and the
going on
Black
with this.
Power movement. He speaks to the Black Power movement as
Mm-hmm,
well. And
mm-hmm.
I think from what I've read a lot of books. From what I've read, I think he really encapsulates a brilliant argument that is very respectful of every perspective, and it's stuff that we need to listen to. Oh, and one last piece. He predicted what's going on right now with the
Wow.
administration. He said the number one battle that we have to fight is the battle dealing with ideology, because
Yes.
as you think, it governs everything else. And we've
Absolutely.
allowed someone else to control the ideology of Black people in this country.
Mm. What's the name of the author?
That's MLK, Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
That's his last book. That's what I'm saying. We haven't read it.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Where do we go from
They
here?
have us
Okay.
cleaning, they have us volunteering on MLK Day when we should be planning and strategizing.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. I absolutely agreed. Kim says I have the book started and will not pick it up again. I'm going to get it in audio. David said the club acts like a parent in this way. When a parent has assets that are well managed, the child, if added to that account, suddenly gets a boost in rating. This club is like a stable parent.
Andrea, check this out. I had a recent meeting with our membership, with our microloan share, Uche. And
Uche.
Uche
Yeah.
is you know, banker. I mean,
He
he's a
is a banker.
legitimate
Yes.
real banker.
Yes.
So I was telling him, I would say, Uche, listen, man, this is how I want to expand our loan. And I told him all this stuff, and I said, Uche, it's because when I grew up middle class. So when I had these brilliant ideas, I could go to mom and dad, and they would loan me the money. But guess what? Most Black people can't do that.
Yeah.
So I want this investment club to be able to treat our folks, give them the opportunity that they should be able to get if they
Mm-hmm.
came from a family with means. But we know
Mm-hmm.
they don't, so we have to build stuff for them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And Uche is an investment banker, so he understands. He gets it. beautifully. And I love the questions that he asks because he's coming from that standpoint. So he
Correct.
knows what's happening in that part of the industry and what they will ask of us. So it's amazing. This is oh my God, this is wonderful. Even my gym instructor, Audra, she's a part of this. She's
Yeah.
Uche's wife. they're like, this is amazing. It's so good. Such a great way to invest. And then we have opportunities where there's an investment opportunity and we'll say, this opportunity is coming. The person comes to the group, sits and talks with us. We look at all their financials, right?
Correct.
And then we say, all right, who wants to invest? And so there are times when you can put in larger amounts of money to invest in something to get a return, and they'll tell you what the return on your investment will be. Yo, when I tell you this is a Black people's dream, the thing that we've been looking for, and it just took a lot of negotiating, managing, trying to figure out the best way to do this so that our monies are safe. Because to Joel's point, we don't trust because we lose money and we invest in things and that thing don't work out and XYZ. And but we would take our larger portions of money and invest in people who then take our money and invest it on their terms. And we only hear we made this money or we lost this money. In this club, we know exactly where the monies are going because you have a vote for every single thing that happens. Every
And
single
Andrea,
thing that happens.
and Andrea, let me just build on what you just said on the transparency in the group. In our investment club, if you are a partner, every month you have access to every bank statement that we have,
There you go.
our brokerage statement. So you yourself as a partner can audit us anytime you want. You can see the historical data. And this is significant because when you get your individual statement and it says you have $10,000 in, you want to have proof. Is there an underlying asset that ties to this statement? So you can go and find it out. One of the greatest debacles we saw in this country is Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff sent those statements out to people, but there was no underlying assets to those statements. We've removed, the whiz. There's no Wizard of Oz.
Right.
You can go and look at the statements and see, okay, this is how much we own in Microsoft or in Starbucks or in this ETF. You can see how much we own in Bitcoin, see how much we own in Ethereum. So you have access to all that 24/7. You don't have to call me.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. It's a beautiful thing. They take away all the mystery out of it. It's very transparent, very open. We know exactly how much money goes in each month. We know where the money is going. Jasenia says, the initial book is The Miseducation of the Negro.
Yes.
Right. And so some of you I know, if you want to use me as a recommendation, because partners have to recommend you. You don't just walk on in. I have
Right.
to vouch for you and say, I know XYZ. And if I don't know you, I'm like, yo, Joel, I don't know. I'm not putting my name on this.
Right.
Because so
Right.
you literally have to be someone. Tracy says, correct. We can log in and see the statements in real time. No fudging the numbers. This really empowers us to do better. This is wonderful. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. I'm so glad. We need to go back to doing this every single month because
I'm
we
with it.
believe we can build wealth, Joel.
Listen, you the queen with the command. You just let me know.
That's what we're doing it every month. I think there's about 10 people at least in there now that came from you
Um,
and I having our
it,
conversations.
it, it could be, I've got at least about four in my head, just off the top of my head, real quick.
Yep.
Like I said, I know Regina is our assistant treasurer, and
Hmm.
so you recommended some great folks.
Some solid people.
I would say the top recommenders at this point. Someone's got you beat, Andrea.
Who?
Someone's got you beat.
Who?
Uche.
That damn Uche. And he just joined.
Hey, he just joined.
Uche is stable, man. I go in the gym and I say, Audrey, your husband makes me so happy he's a part of this group because he gets it.
Yeah.
He absolutely gets it. Oh, the transparency is real. We're not playing around talking about people, this is why people are so angry, because they would go into investment clubs where they would put their money in. They don't know where the money is going. The stuff is
Right.
being invested on without them having a conversation, all of those things. And so this is great. Thank you so much. Thank you for pulling me in. I don't even know how the hell you pulled me in, but okay, Uche and I are on, because we want more people. If you join a club for the first time and the valuation is $385,000 and all you've put into it is $50, you understand, as you continue to grow, right? As you continue to put your money in, where you have power to invest in a way with your $100 in 2 months that you wouldn't ordinarily be able to do anywhere else.
Right.
Anywhere else.
Right. And Andrea, let me just talk about that $50 a month minimum you put in. The typical Black Philadelphian, working Black Philadelphian, is spending that on coffee a month.
A month? They spend it in 2 days.
Well, I'm just going to say a month. Some people got worse habits than others. But the thing is that we do have the funds, and I would just recommend we start looking at some of the ways we spend money, and some of the top categories in which we do spend a lot of money. Phone service, we spend a lot of money on phone service. Cable service, we spend a lot of money on cable service. Coffee, going out to eat, shoes, and this is both men and women. Men and women.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some areas in which, if you pull back a little bit, no one would really know you made a difference. Like, you changed behavior, but you would have more cash to help build your wealth. And I have one controversial thing I want to say, Andrea. You may not call me back. One controversial thing. So we as Black people, we love expensive luxury cars.
Child.
But we
Keep
really
talking.
have to think about, if we were willing to, let's say you're the person, and congratulations if you can afford $150,000 car. Congratulations. I cannot.
Wait,
So
what the hell what costs $150,000 in a car?
it's a
I
bunch of
don't.
it. I'm not a car person, so I can't go in. Oh, you know what? I just saw, was it a G wagon? G wagon is $200,000. So that's one.
People
That's a
spend
Mercedes.
$200,000 in a car, Joel.
Somebody's spending it. But let's say this. So if you're the person that can afford that G wagon, I think it's two options if you're really talking about helping the Black community to consider. One of them is that if you can afford that 200,000 G wagon and you got it like that, then man, your investment in the Black community should also be like 200 grand.
Yeah.
And then there's nothing to say because you're doing your part.
Yes.
And your 200 grand, let me break it down how that would work. When I run TechCore, a nonprofit, a tech STEM nonprofit, my annual budget right now is 50 grand. Think about, you could fully fund 4 nonprofits that's doing the damn thing in the city of Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. So that's one way to look at it. Another way is, if you could afford that G wagon, but you can't afford to put 200,000 into the Black community, like you can't afford it, then maybe buy $100,000 car.
And
so, very nice.
So let me ask. Hold on, because you're making a great point, and you will be invited back. Because listen, we've been having this conversation. David says, "Can an entity join as an entity instead of as a person?" Yes. A business can join. A nonprofit can join. You missed that part, David. You missed that part. Yeah. So you can join as a nonprofit. You can join as a business. You can join as an entity. So that's you can do that. That's open for you. So we talked about that in the beginning. It is there. The other thing that I want to talk to us about, because I don't know what that thing is. If you're going to invest in a car, I don't know about no 200 or 100. I'm not my speed either. I'm with you there. Invest in one that has a good engine. So you're not constantly at the shop, because we tend to think that it's only the car note and the insurance that we're paying. But every time that car has to go into the shop for this thing wrong and that thing wrong, it's ridiculous the amount of money that you're spending. My family drives a particular car. They're Toyotas. You listen, my last Toyota had 240 something thousand miles on it, baby. Like we drive our cars
Right.
into you don't want to keep
Right.
putting money into car payments, right?
Correct.
And you want to make sure that you're driving a car that you're only changing the brakes, the oil, the tires, literally. But what we say as black people, now maybe you may not want to come back on here after I say this controversial statement. What we say as black people is, well, it's not flashy and showy enough. So I'm gonna buy that BMW, or I'm gonna buy that whatever that other thing is, so that it shows up. But those cars, you spend so much money in the shop with them because there's always something consistently happening with them, right? So you do with your money as you will. But what we're saying to you is a lot of that you put into that could be put into investing somewhere.
Right. And really we're talking about strategy. Like so at my core, I'm about nation building. And this is the concept that Marcus Garvey
I'm losing you, Joel. You're
articulated.
getting low to me.
Okay. What we're talking about is strategy, nation
Mm-hmm.
building strategy. And this is what Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and so many others have articulated. So money is a resource. So as a people, we're being persecuted. Racism is here. So one of our tools to fight back is money. And if we have a limited amount of money to fight with, then is it best to put such a large percentage of our funds into vehicles versus educating our kids, building up our HBCUs, investing in businesses? Because we're in an ideological warfare in this country, and
Yep.
they are not going to fund our freedom. So are we choosing luxury items over our freedom? And that's the point. If I have several friends that are car fanatics, right?
Yeah.
They can, several of them have cars that are costing well over $250,000.
Quarter
And
of a
that's fine.
million dollars.
But you still need to your put some resources back into the black community so that we can help win this war. We got young boys out here crashing out on a daily basis because they are totally lost. So we need organizations like 100 Black Men, NOMO Foundation, Fathership Foundation, uh, By the Hood Camp,
Mm-hmm.
Tech Core 2. We need these groups to be well funded.
Mm-hmm.
And we can't rely on running to the system. We shouldn't be.
Yeah.
We should be able to self finance our freedom, else, we're not getting it.
Yes. Yes. I agree. You know, someone said to me, every single time I earn money, it goes back into my business. It's the way I've stayed out of banks and trying to borrow things. But people say, well, how are you living? How can you? Because the more I invest into the business, the more I am able to earn money, right?
Right.
And so it's hard. When I listen to people talk about, I'm trying to borrow this money and I'm trying to borrow that money, and then it makes sense. When I first started my pivot in 2016, I didn't go anywhere. We didn't buy anything. We were cooking all the time. I still cook all the time. Cook all the time. I had my little 240,000 a mile car.
We
All the
haven't
things.
been over there
Didn't
for them
not a manny
oxtails,
or a
but go
penny.
ahead.
Huh?
Say we haven't been over for the oxtails you promised, but go ahead.
Oh, you listen. These oxtails, listen. Listen. I've been having dinners, so your turn is coming. I've been having dinners in small groups, so your turn is coming. Let me tell you though, you'll come over for my oxtails. You're never gonna want to leave. I promise you. I heard somebody telling somebody the other day at the office, she can cook. Strange man getting his locks done going. And when can I come to your house? But it's another way that we build community, right? Is by having these dinners. You're welcome, Dennis. You're absolutely welcome. So when you see folks and folks are like, well, I'm going to leave the house that the mortgage is already paid for, and I'm going to go into a different house because I want bigger and better. It's the mindset. It's the ideologies that we've been following for so many years, not recognizing that this I almost cuss. This ish was not built for us. And no matter how big the car, no matter how expensive the house, no matter how many times you've gone to Martha's Vineyard, no matter what, there are still people looking at us in resentment, right? And so we've got to figure out how to do this and quietly. Notice he said this belongs to black people and black people only, without apologies. Without apologies, because there's no safe space for us to do what we're supposed to do and how we need to get there.
And
Angela says,
Andrea,
"What's that?"
let me
Go
share
ahead.
this with you. I've spoken to several folks who are not African American
Mm-hmm.
about this investment club. And when I broke it down to them, every single one of them said, we do the same thing.
Except they don't. Yes, Joel. And they've been doing it forever. And they sit in bars and on a napkin says, right on a napkin, I want to start da 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 da. Come on over here and meet with so and so and so and so. We the only ones. This
Yep.
should not be an anomaly.
Yep. I was just talking to one of my Jewish friends. We talking about we trying to do, go out for golfing. I broke this down to him. He was like, "Man, we've been doing this."
They've been doing it for a while. And the Asians do it quite a bit too, right? That's
Absolutely.
why they have whole shopping centers, because they
Absolutely.
have cooperative in economics and they work together.
The Dominicans.
Child, child, let's discuss. Let's discuss, right?
Yep.
I sit down and I say to you all, I don't go into stores to buy clothes. I go and I find my fabric. I find the best quality fabric for $5 a yard, $10 a yard, sometimes a little bit more. And then I have a seamstress that works with me. So instead of going into the store and buying a whole bunch of ish, right? I go, all right, I need a black dress. I need blah, 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 blah. And folks are looking at me like, well, wow. They think I'm spending thousands of dollars. No, the maximum I spend a year on clothing, $1,000 a year,
What?
y'all. Okay, come talk to me.
I can't
Okay,
even do
all right,
that.
come talk to me. Come talk to me. The email, Angela, is tell them the email again, because it used to be president. What is
Membership
it now?
at ibbig.net. Membership at ibbig.net. Our website is ibbig.net, ibbig.net. We're on Facebook. If you go to Facebook, you could just search IBB Investment Group. We're also on
Mm-hmm,
Instagram. You could
mm-hmm,
search IB Big, and you'll
mm-hmm,
you'll hit us up. And we're in the planning stages now for our event, which is going to focus on MLK's latest book.
mm-hmm,
We actually have two events coming up. One is focused on MLK's book, and then there's a local new author in Philly. His name is Jonathan Wilson. He wrote a book called Erased, Erased. So this book focuses on the 32 top black Wall Streets destroyed in this country. So I had he actually gave my group this summer, Tech Core 2, our students, an advanced copy of the book. So I had the students read it. They developed presentations and things from the book, but he's going to be coming doing a book signing and presentation on the book so that we can learn about we all know about Greenwood, Ocella. I think that's in Florida. There's it's just so many. Like his book is focusing on 32 of them, and so we're going to learn, what they did, the heights, the assets they owned. Florida. One of the things I learned about Florida, which is interesting,
mm-hmm,
one of the major vineyards or orchards, rather, orchards in Florida
mm-hmm,
was 100% black owned. So
mm-hmm,
they owned the orchard, which right now would be worth probably maybe $1 billion or something.
mm-hmm,
And some dispute happened, and they killed the main owner, ran over 200 black people off the land,
mm-hmm,
and no reparations. White folks still own that land to this day. And that
mm-hmm.
so we should be part of the orange juice industry supply chain right
Yes.
now, and we're not.
Yeah. 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 Yep, yep, yep. How do we protect ourselves from people who see that we're making progress? Because every time we make progress, there's someone that comes along and says, oh, well, let's just cut this out.
Great question. So again, reading, we will come to understand why we were vulnerable during the top era of Black Wall Streets. So we did not, as Black people, achieve the ability to not be killed, wantonly, and not to have assets stolen at white people's will. We did not earn that until the civil rights achievements in the 60s. So that's when you could no longer just kill black people and nothing happened, and you couldn't just steal our assets. The mistake we made is when we got these two historical wins, we didn't go back and rebuild Black Wall Street. We became materialistic. Don't get upset with Joel Wilson, because this is what King said. This is what King said. Martin Luther King, Dr. Martin Luther King said this. He said materialism, militarism, and poverty is our problem. And did we go and fight materialism? No, we went and bought cars.
Yep. 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 Uh, so yeah. Angela says we got to have these conversations in private, all eyes all around us, even in our own community. And
Absolutely.
so, yes, Angela, yes, 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 and double yes. So, Joel, you really want to be a part of this. It is membership at IB Investment.
IB Big,
IB, say that again.
IBBig.net. Membership at
IBBig.net. Membership at
IBBig.net.
IBBig.net. um, uh, ship at ibbig.net. Big.net. I'm writing it down so I don't forget it. Joel, I just want you to know it's 7:51. We've been talking for almost an hour, but this was so important. And we're going to continue to quietly move where we're talking to you all here publicly, because understanding that there are so many black women, again, we're out here going to, and but I said it and everybody looked at me like I was crazy. I said, stop posting on social media all that you're doing with this thing that you call that's got money. We're going to Martha's of the Vineyards, we're going to Greece, we're going to, and there's been a plan afoot to pull black women all the way back to the base level, and hundreds of thousands of black women now don't have jobs. Hundreds of thousands of black women now are sitting there trying to figure out how to make their car payments and how to make their mortgage payments. In certain communities where we were building black wealth, what's happening now is the houses are going up for foreclosure, right? In major black communities, they're doing it. It's Tulsa all over again. And so we have to be mindful.
Correct.
And I keep saying to y'all, live beneath your diggity dang means. Even if you have the wherewithal to do what you need to do, live beneath your means. You don't
And
have to
Andrea,
show up to
look at this.
everything.
Look at this. And I think the number is 300,000 black women have been
It's
forced
more
out.
than that.
It's more than that.
It's more than
Wow.
that now.
But just off 100,000, if you look at 100,000, if 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 they were putting their money into a type of investment
Yeah.
fund, it would be at least hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe
Yeah.
even billions. And when you have funds like that, then you can take care of yourself.
When disaster hits. Yep.
Right. And one last analogy, this may be a little controversial. So one of the areas, and I'm not trying to sound negative at all. Um, one of the areas black people have a history and tradition putting money into is the church. And I love my church. I go to Salem Baptist Church. I have a phenomenal pastor, Marshall Mitchell, Reverend Marshall Mitchell. So we historically put money there, and we need to continue to do that. Um, However, I will say is that there is a limitation of impact the church can have financially in our community. If you compare, if we are disproportionately putting money there, and we don't have a fund like the BlackRock Fund. The BlackRock Fund is the fund that's been buying up all the houses in the country that people are complaining about. So what I'm suggesting is, because BlackRock's not going to stop, what I'm suggesting is we need to be buying houses, and we could have bought houses faster if we did it in a collective model here in the city versus waiting for an individual. Well, I'm going to buy this house first, and I'm going to buy that house. as a collective, we could have been buying 100 houses at a time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But because we're self-motivated, I'm doing for myself. One of the hardest things that happened to us is when we started talking about doing for ourselves and making sure we had what we needed for our individual families versus working collectively. That's the ultimate goal in this conversation. For all this talking that we have been doing for the last hour, the ultimate goal is for us to work together cooperatively, right? And as we see our brothers and sisters are falling down, we really need to step in and say, how can we support? What can we do? How can we help? Right? Versus, that's their problem. They've got to figure it out. I got so mad at a sister the other day. Well, they need to pay their bills. They need to pay their mortgage. I don't understand. But if you lost your job, I said, have you ever fallen in hard times? Have you ever fallen in hard times, right? And so the hard lessons that we have to learn now is, how do we navigate instead of flossing and putting on name brand this? And I'm telling you all, I love you all dearly, but Jesus be ever. It speaks to a mindset when we feel like we have to look and carry ourselves like everybody else.
So
That we have to
Andrea,
wear the certain things like everybody else. That's money. We don't have that kind of money
so
to
let me,
spend.
yeah, let me just there is a there's such a benefit to having some financial wherewithal, living below your means. So I went through a storm in my life. I was in my early 30s. And my parents, blessed them, both of them, my father is passed now, but they had a real spirit of saving and investing. And I went through a storm, and I literally did not make a mortgage payment in a year. Now, my father was co-signing my mortgage at the time. So the statements was going to my parents' house. My mother knew, my parents knew intrinsically what I was going through. My mother never called me. She never harassed me. She paid my mortgage for a year. When I finally came up and had the ability, I got through the storm. I had the mental ability to start dealing and whatnot, and I still had my house. And and so
So if
you
so if your
want to have
parents
that
weren't
type.
if your parents weren't people who were saving all that
Correct.
time, you would
I'd
not
have
have
been
been
done.
able to. Yeah. Yeah, yeah,
I'd have
yeah.
been done.
Yeah, you'd have been done. You would have lost your house,
Yep.
right? Right. Jennifer says, great point about the church. I'm wondering if a church credit union would have the same impact as a BlackRock fund. Now, doesn't
No.
Salem
No.
had no,
So I can.
no.
So no. So I'll say this real quick. When I was 30, for about 6 months, I was chair of a credit union at my church. So there's limitations to credit, but they have a purpose. They do have a purpose, and credit unions are actually probably a better model for the Black community than majority of commercial banks, and that's another conversation. But and I'm pulling my information from Color of Money, so I'm not just sitting up here spouting. You can get that book. I encourage you, Color of Money. They have a purpose, but a credit union could not buy those type institutions. They can loan money, they can loan, provide accounts, but they can't buy. However, investment clubs could.
Mhm.
Investment clubs could.
Um, Salem, I know, had a credit union when they were over on in Jenkintown. I don't know if the credit union still exists,
I
but
don't
they had
think
a
they
very
currently
strong
have
credit
one.
union.
I don't think.
Huh?
I don't think they. I don't. I
You
have
don't
not
think they
heard
currently
anything
have
about it. I don't
one?
think they
Yeah,
currently have a credit union.
yeah, 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 yeah. They're there. So let's talk about this, shall we? This is wonderful. Joel, it's 8 o'clock.
Time for the coffee.
Time for the coffee. Time for the coffee. So I am praying that even if you don't join an investment club, this one or any other, that you take heed to a lot of what we were talking about today. Uh, you know, think about how we're spending money. Think about what that looks like. Think about, if you buy a car, try to buy a car that the payment can be done in a year or two instead of 6 or 7 years, because that's holding you hostage, right? Um, uh, 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 so and the amount of interest rate that you would save. I'm trying not to get into my own personal business to have this conversation with all of you, but I just want you to know that there are ways that you can do this. And with what you see coming in this country right now, it is so much, it's expedient to say, let me figure out how to pay off this and pay off that and pay off that, so that if push comes to shove and there is nothing, there's no income coming in, we can look at my IB Big Investment Club. I can look at some other places where you're saving money versus just blowing money. Every time I hear about this pocketbook that costs $17,000, my blood pressure rises. Right? Like we have to be able to look at these things and say, no, I don't have that kind of money. I might be making $200,000 a year, but if you don't have $1 million in a bank account somewhere where you can, you understand what I'm saying? If you're not saving as you're earning that kind of money, then it's incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult.
One other lesson I think as a community, I'm hoping we start to focus more on, and this is with Dr. Coretta Scott King.
Yes.
So when the four little girls were killed, she put out an announcement to her network that it was around Christmas. They were not celebrating Christmas that year. They were to pull their funds to support the civil rights movement, not celebrating Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
We fundamentally will not get through the war we are in if we are unwilling to sacrifice. And economics is a main component in this war. And that's what I'm hoping Black people understand. It is a main component. The whole purpose that we were brought to this country, it was for the economic benefit of someone else.
Yes.
And we went from the enslavement period. We had that Civil War, Reconstruction, and where we landed after Reconstruction is a cold civil war. It never stopped. It just changed. And they've been battling us all this time, many of us, because of how we have been educated and socialized. We don't realize we're still in a war. Yeah. Now it's become apparent. They've been preparing. Tea Party was just another part of preparation in that war, testing the bounds, what they can do. Trump first administration, testing the bounds, what they can do. The Project 2025 slipped out, and we were still focused on nonsense. We have so much infighting in our community. Child. We're unable to fight the barbarians at the gate.
Yep. 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 Speak the truth, my brother. And it's so hard because we're like, I don't Please talk about me, da 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 da. There's some serious hard truths. I've had conversations with my sons and I said, look, the mortgage for this house is paid. All our children, actually, including our daughter, Janelle. If something is going on, come back in here. Come live with us.
Wow.
We don't even come here and live with us. If we're not, we will come, but we can't do it. It's too many people to a house and da 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 da. And I don't want anybody to talk about me. Where our conditioning has to change. It has to change. If we're going to survive this thing, our conditioning must change. I'm not asking you. I'm telling you. Our conditioning must change, because what is coming down the pike, we're seeing what's going on in DC, and 19 other states just had guards sent to them, National Guard sent to them. We keep thinking this is not going to happen here, and if it happens here, I'll still be able to keep my job, and I'll still be able to. So much is going to shift so quickly. So much is going to shift so quickly, and if I can't get you all to understand what is on the menu, I said this in January. I said Black people are on the menu. And I got pushed back. What do you have to suggest that this is what fact do you have? Do you not see what's been going on around us for all these decades? We saw it coming. And oh, by the way, for those of you who don't understand what Joel is saying, we're actively in civil war. Actively. And what we keep
it hasn't moved from the cold civil war. We're still in the cold, but they're positioning
not quite. We're warm now. We're in a warm civil war now.
They're positioning like they're staging troops for a hot war.
Yeah.
but
Yep.
we're actively in a cold civil. And the first line in war is ideological. And over the last
It's the
50
mind.
years, we've lost.
Yep.
And King told us in that book, King said his 3 points of power. Number one is ideological. Number two, he said, was political. Number three, he said, was economic. If you read Color of Money, her outline is number one is economics. Number two is political. Number three is social. And what she argues in the book, don't come at me, what she argues is that Black people have made social the number one priority. We have forsaken economics, and by us having, we have the greatest parties, we got the greatest vibes and this and that, the best vacations, but when it comes to the economics, which has the real power in this country, we're in a weak position.
Very weak position. Very weak position. We are playing the part. We're living in the cars. We're living in the houses. We're driving the cars. But economically, weak position.
Right.
And that's the part that nobody wants to. Well, y'all in my business and you da 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 da. Yo, if you're making $250,000 a year and you look at your bills and you say, this is what I have to pay, and you minimize the amount of money that you spend on material things, you would be a millionaire 10 times over because you'd be
Yeah.
putting that money together and saving it or investing it and doing the kind of, but we don't think that way.
Right.
We don't think that way. And these are some hard truths that I'm having about us right now, right? Because I've had to cover, why don't you move out of your house? It's an older house. You can buy blah, 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 blah. What? But the mortgage is paid, y'all. Let's think. Let's think. This is, who are you impressing? Well, why were you, when my children were going off to college, I moved out of my house and moved into an apartment and was driving a much older car so I could pay for my children's college tuition. Why are you living there? Aren't you concerned that people would think this, this, and this about you? We have to stop worrying about what the hell people think and live our lives in a realistic way. In a realistic way.
Right.
It's insane. It's insane. I knew I couldn't do two things, and I knew that if I gave them the education that they needed, they would have a leg up to do what they needed to do in this life.
Right.
But we have to think outside of what people would think, what people would say. And now, both of them college educated, both of them making well over 100,000. They're 29 and 33. And they've learned to save their money. They're not driving fancy cars. My oldest son has a car that's like 20 years old in his drive, and then he has a van for his children. And then I realized that my mindset impacted his mindset. Right? So when push comes to shove, we know that these are the things we have to do to navigate them. Do what you need to do now to do what you want to do later. But we can't pass on generational wealth if we're spending it faster than we can make it.
Correct. Correct.
It is what it is. But that's a show for another day. Joel, it's 8:07. You lucky I'm not going to the gym today. Audrey be like, where the hell are you? But thank you for coming on to talk to us about IB Big Investment Club for Black people, and to give us an idea about, where we need to go, what we need to do, um, so we can grow. And for those of you who know people who are part of the hundreds of thousands of women that have lost their jobs, come together collectively. There's a small group chat that I'm in right now where we're coming together collectively and we're all donating money to make sure we put in a pot, and not just donate the money one time, donate the money consistently so we can help to pay for cars and car payments, and to help people to pay for their mortgages. Come on, y'all. Let's get off of these internets and talking about bullshit. I cussed. Yes, I did. And about where we are and where we're going and what Black men think about Black women and what blah, blah, blah. Shut up. Can we just shut up
Let me
and
say this,
really work with each other?
Andrea, I love Black women. I love my mother. I love my sister. I have an incredible wife. I love sisters. I have, I don't, I have, I've never dated other than a Black woman in my life. So these conversations I hear, I don't know where this craziness is coming from. All of my friends, all my boys
Yeah.
have married a sister.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
Yeah.
So, you know, when you have a battle, we have a battle.
Yeah.
So I just want to say that so that we
Yeah.
can, we have one enemy, and it ain't us. It ain't each other. We
Yeah.
need to focus on that enemy, and so that we move forward together. And I'm very sorry all these women are being impacted like that, but we need some different strategies. And hopefully
Yeah.
this wake up call, we will pivot quickly and start building, because we got
Yeah.
to have, we got to build that Noah's Ark to save us.
Yeah.
We can't
Yeah.
rely on someone else.
Yeah. And you heard Joel say other cultures have been doing it for generations. He talking about our little investment club. They're like, oh yeah, we've been doing that for a minute. They have. They have. Because they have figured out how to work together. They be cussing each other out in private, and in
Right,
public, they're sitting together and doing what needs to be done. We need to get there. We
right,
need to get there. We
right.
need to get there. Love you all. This episode of Mornings with Mom is officially over. I am Andrea Lawful Sanders because I'm on my way to help another sister right now. I'll see you when I see you. Bye, everybody. Bye, Joel. Bye. Oh, my goodness. Look at us, though. I'm going to get off the air shortly. Just hold on. I'm trying to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do over here. So that's one. You're gone. Goodbye. And bye, everybody. Bye bye.